Here's my review of the 2020 Scorpion MGL by Shimano. Pretty sweet reel. It's a JDM only. You can only get it over in Japan. You can't get it anywhere else in the world. You have to get it from them if you're going to get it anywhere else. You can buy them online. You can get them on eBay. You can get them from a couple of other places, a couple of Japanese websites if you want to get one. But it's going to have to come from Japan, so there's that. But it's pretty much worth the investment, I think. A really sweet reel. So far, I've had it for a couple of months. I think I bought it in December, just about. So that's roughly 5 months worth of use. And I feel like it's gotten, it's sort of becoming one of my favorite reels so far. Some of the features of this reel: it has a centrifugal braking system on the inside. 4-pin centrifugal braking system. Other reels have 6, but this one has 4 pins. It features the MGL spool on the inside, which is really good for throwing lightweight lures and fishing much lighter baits like smaller jerk baits, maybe a spy bait even, or even some finesse techniques that you probably get away with, finesse jigs and things like that. I have it mounted to a Ducket Micro Magic Pro. This is a 7-foot medium power rod. I'm gonna use it for jerk baits. I picked it up originally as a jerkbait setup, but it's actually kind of proven to be sort of a multi-purpose rod. It also fishes small top water as well. It also fishes things like Nico rigs and things like that pretty well. You can skip casts with it pretty well if you manage to line with your thumb good enough. Pretty sweet reel for those types of situations. It doesn't fish anything super heavy exceptionally well, but any mid-size and smaller size lures it works pretty well at. I wouldn't really throw anything over, say, 5/8 of an ounce, something like that, which is a little bit heavier than a half. I wouldn't go too much bigger than that with this reel. It would probably fish it fine, but I don't really feel like it would be a good reel for power fishing with really heavy things like flipping or frogs, something like that. So it has micro module gearing. That's another feature of this reel. Very, very smooth casting, very smooth with the handle turns. Retrieves are really good on it. The model that I have is I have the 6 2-to-1 gear ratio. I believe they come in a 6, a 7, and an 8 speed, but I'm not sure about that. It may just be a 6 and a 7, I don't know. But nonetheless, it's a pretty sweet reel. Some of those upsides to go with it is it's really smooth casting. It fishes finesse baits really well. It does a lot of power presentations well that aren't too big or too heavy. You can fish small crankbaits on it, top waters. You can fish small finesse jigs, finesse presentations and things like that on it pretty well. But some of the downsides of it are it doesn't have a whole lot of drag to it. It's only got 11 pounds of drag. So if you hook into a really, really, really big fish, you're gonna have to back way down the drag and just let them run. So if you're in a situation where, for example, you're fishing a jerkbait or you're fishing a lipless crankbait and you stick a striper instead of a largemouth, you're just gonna have to back off and let them go. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. This is why it's not good for situations like flipping or pitching or punching also, because it's only got 11 pounds of drag. You've only got so much power. One of the other downsides to it is that it's the touchiest reel that I've ever fished. I enjoy fishing with it. I like it. I enjoy it. It's just very, very touchy. By that I mean, by comparison, I've used, I don't even know how many other reels over the years, maybe, I don't know, 25, 30 other bait casters or something like that. This one, by far, is the touchiest, and by that I mean very small adjustments on the spool tension knob, or very small adjustments with just the braking system on the inside make a world of difference with this reel, where with other reels, they're a little bit more forgiving. If I back off just a hair on my spool tension knob, it could backlash right off the back, or I could get a much longer cast. So you got to be really mindful of these things when you're using this reel in particular. I have the Batanian MGL as well, and I fished reels from several other brands: Shimano, Daiwa, 13, Abu Garcia, all these other brands, and this one is by far the touchiest out of all of them. It does throw jerk baits exceedingly well, especially with the rod that I have it mounted to. This is a half-ounce Megabass Vision 110. It can chuck these really, really far. Incredible casting distance. I've got it with 12-pound fluorocarbon on there, and it can chuck those way out there. As long as you've got it dialed in right, it's beautiful, perfect. But if you got it dialed in a little bit too high or a little bit too low with your settings, you're gonna feel it. It's gonna burn you a little bit. It's easy to make those adjustments though. It's easily accessible. It's fairly user-friendly. The only reason why I would say that it's not the most user-friendly reel in the world is because it is so touchy. But the vast majority of the time, if it fluffs up a little bit too much when you throw it, you can easily fix it. But it throws a 1/2 ounce jerkbait pretty well, but it also fishes smaller baits pretty well. I've also tried other presentations on it, just to kind of test it, see how well it'll do. I've tested it with just swim baits with small 1/4 ounce jig heads and trying to see how light I can go with that reel. And I've been able to cast baits to go all the way down to 1/8 of an ounce with that thing. It's really, really good for doing small stuff. The range that it seems to excel at though is somewhere between 3/8 of an ounce and that 5/8 ounce size that I was just mentioning. I've tried the 3/8 ounce Lucky Craft Pointer 78. This one doesn't have a weight transfer system or anything in it, and it still casts pretty well so long as you have the settings put in right. If you have the settings a little bit too tight, it doesn't go anywhere, and if you have it too loose, it backlashes right off the rip. So there's a sort of a sweet spot with each lure that you put on there. So every time I put on a new lure, I find myself adjusting the spool tension knob and maybe messing with the internal braking system just a little bit just to get it dialed in just right. But otherwise, performs really, really well. Very smooth reel, very long casting reel. Good drag system. The drag is easily adjustable. It's just plain old star drag like everything else. I do find it to be a little bit more smooth and also a little bit more touchy than other reels. Say, for example, I have a Abu Garcia Revo Ike series reel. That one, it takes a couple of cranks to make a real difference. Whereas with this thing, I can back up just a little bit and it makes a whole lot of difference with my drag. See, I have my drag almost locked down all the way. I'm pulling line, but not a whole lot. If I take this thing and I bring it back just an inch, a 1/4 inch, barely, line comes out for you a lot easier. So it's very touchy, but it's an enjoyable reel to fish. I like it. It's not crazy expensive either. I got mine for a little less than $180, so you're not going to spend a fortune trying to get one. If you do get it from some JDM sites, you may have to pay for the import fee to ship it from overseas, but I think it's worth it. It's worth the buy, definitely. Plus, it's just a really cool looking reel. It has that cool like maroon kind of red looking color. It has the an actual scorpion logo on the spool tension knob. That's something that other Shimano Scorpion reels haven't had in the past. I've got the Scorpion DC reels and a couple of other the older Scorpion reels that didn't have that before. So they've added some cool new features to those things, but the most important thing that I think about this reel is just that MGL spool. You can get an MGL spool for not a lot of money. This is one of the more cost-effective MGL reels that Shimano's came out with. If you get the Metanium MGL or some of those other models, it can cost you a couple $100, a few more $100 than this one would for less than $200. So you get a very, very high-performing reel for not a lot of money, and that's the best feature about this thing. But moving forward, you can see the knobs, the handles. They're nice, they're soft. They're not too bulky, they're not in the way. They're not, the handle isn't too long either. Some of the reels that will wide, they'll have really long handles. Handles will stretch way out to here somewhere. This reel's pretty compact. It's pretty small, it's pretty palmable. It fits right in the palm of your hand. You're not gonna feel sore or feel fatigued after a day of using it. It's fairly lightweight too. It's not huge, it's not heavy. Really, really good setup for especially kids or women or beginners who are just getting into using a bait caster. It's not too much, so it's really good for them too. And another thing about it that I really like is that you don't feel it in your wrists after a day of working it on a jerkbait rod, because you're constantly snapping it over and over and over again. all day long and you don't feel it afterwards. Whereas if you were going to use a bigger reel with heavy line and stuff like that, you go out there and jerk it for a while and you're going to feel it. It's going to hurt the next day. But it's a sweet reel. It's worth the money. I would definitely buy it again. In fact, I think I might. So, hope that helps some people. If you like the video, give it a like, a share, a sub. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.